sustainable development is a challenge, especially in the world today. And Switzerland has been playing a leading role in this work by promulgating a plan of action for private investments aimed at serving the sustainable development goals. And this World Investment Forum is indeed related to the further development of this plan to mobilize international financial markets and the resources available, and then to invest them in key sectors. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we do have to realize more than ever before that sustainable development is necessary. And we have to look at this challenge together. We have to deal with this together. It concerns all of us. And I'm talking about globalization, questions of inequality, wars, internal conflicts. I also have in mind migratory flows and, of course, climate change. I think about the questions of health or the health crisis and also the digital revolution. And these challenges are becoming more and more important. And we do realize that no single country can deal with these challenges without cooperating with other countries. But at the same time, what we are seeing is the rise of nationalism reflected in national policies that is accompanied with mistrust towards multilateralism, free trade, and cooperation between countries. And this reflects the great paradox of our times, the need for greater cooperation to overcome the challenges that we're facing, but also this nationalist movement. And this is very complex, and this is even dangerous, and we should tirelessly continue to promote international cooperation. And I'm deeply convinced that only cooperation and international cohesion will help us preserve peace, stable international relations, and offer a better economic future for certain parts of the world. And if this trend for weakening multilateralism continues, then this will indeed affect the poorest of us all, and the most fragile economies will suffer first. And in light of this possibility, it is our responsibility, our joint responsibility in developed countries and growing economies to avoid this result and associate the poorest of the population to the prosperity generated by the world economy. But nothing is fully done until it's done, because we realize that FDI has dropped 23% in 2017, and indeed this is a negative trend, a source of long-term concern for decision makers throughout the world, especially in developing countries where international investment is crucial in ensuring sustainable industrial development. And in this context, indeed in this particular context, it is important, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to benefit from an international situation that will be favorable to investment, open investment, and to have investment policies that are transparent and non-discriminatory. In the fourth industrial revolution, or what some call the fourth industrial revolution, something related to new technologies and robotization, is indeed something that is very promising for sustainable development, but we should make sure that it doesn't create further inequalities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I have said, sustainable development of all countries is an enormous challenge that we must deal with together. And the World Investment Forum, in a very remarkable manner, looks at innovative ways of financing this sustainable development, and also bringing together stakeholders that do not necessarily always know each other, and especially bringing together public and private sectors. And if we indeed wish to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015, the efforts of governments and of the private sector should be coordinated. The public sector is aimed at creating the necessary framework, favorable conditions for financial innovation, and promotes the integration of different economic actors in a sustainable manner. And the private sector, for its part, has the necessary tools through its creativity, knowledge, and the capacity to manage financial actors. And these investments are indeed necessary more than ever. They are the engines of innovation. They help modernize industries and connect countries to international markets. And something that is indeed a happy development, that the investment markets related to environment, to social issues, and to governments have been rapidly growing over the last 2 decades, even though their share is still quite modest. Well, this means that companies should be involved even more in the respect and the promotion of environmental standards, social standards, and standards of governance. And if the interest of the financial industry for sustainable development is growing, but still there are certain obstacles that should be overcome, because these interests of the financial sector are very often limited to small groups of pioneers, and the financial sector and the public sector often speak different languages. For example, the evaluation of risks for investments for the first and the second are very much influenced by world public goods. And the commitment of my country, Switzerland, is to support the steps that are aimed at overcoming obstacles to investment, to ensure sustainable development, and to preserve the resources of our planet. And here we're working closely with UNCTAD to help developing countries to achieve 2 objectives: to conserve and preserve biodiversity, but also to improve social and economic well-being. And from the point of view of reducing poverty, the economies based on biodiversity have great opportunities, creating employment for rural communities, and we have to ensure gender equality, which is indeed still a great concern for Switzerland, but not only for us. And this is why we support projects that focus on women entrepreneurs. And in this respect, we're one of the first countries to promote the principles for responsible investment in agriculture. And UNCTAD has contributed to that work. And I have to say that Switzerland is a country that manages 30% of world microfinance. And Switzerland plays a major role, the role of a key actor in sustainable investment. And in this light, I'd like to avail myself of this opportunity to say that we're very pleased that the program of this forum includes numerous events related to sustainable and responsible investment, including the investments in the dealing with antibacterial treatments, something that we are working on, and Switzerland has supported these initiatives in the area of biotechnology. Now, in conclusion, I'd like to say the following. During this whole week, focus will be given to the enormous potential of sustainable investment. And the meetings that will take during this week, the sharing of experience, the sharing of this experience during this week should make it possible for us to develop new synergies. And we know that if we wish to move forward in a significant manner in the implementation of the SDGs, we have to be realistic, effective, but also we should be very ambitious. And all of this to avoid the arrival of a world where everyone is fighting for themselves and to ensure that we have a world of cooperation and commitment that is aimed at peace, development, and the protection of environment. And I do believe that we can overcome these challenges with success, challenges related to poverty, migration, climate change, and we can only do this when we have trust. And this forum will indeed contribute to developing this trust. So we should all together ensure the full success of the World Investment Forum 2018.
I thank His Excellency, President of the Swiss Confederation, Mr. Alain Berset. I now have the honor to invite Her Excellency, Ms. Maria Fernanda Espinosa Garcia, President of the General Assembly of the United Nations, to address the forum.
Good afternoon. Your Highness, Princess of Belgium, Your Excellency, President Berset from the Swiss Confederation, esteemed heads of state and government, Mr. Kitui, Secretary General UNCTAD, dear friend Michael Muller, Director of the UN Office in Geneva, Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to be here for the 10th anniversary of the World Investment Forum. This year's event is particularly important. We live in a world experiencing transformation in all facets of human life, including the impact of automation, digitization, and financial derivatives on the real economy. We are also in a period that is regrettably marked by uncertainty and characterized by uneven development, protectionism, and isolationism. Our challenge, therefore, is to ensure that all of us work together, that is, governments, companies, workers, civil society, academia alike. Together we can demonstrate the importance and utility of multilateralism. And we can do this by decisions and actions that enable the world to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals and build a fairer, more equitable world. It is clear that in the even more interdependent world of today, we need more cooperation to solve the global problems that affect all of us on this planet. Thus, my call for global leadership and shared responsibilities. My friends, on this allow me to make 3 points this afternoon. First, I would underscore the important role of the private sector in delivering Agenda 2030 for sustainable development. Second, I would emphasize that empowering women and youth is key to economic development and ensuring peace and security. And third, I will make a case for investing in areas that advance